Alrighty. I'm just going to keep working on the astrodoodle. Sorry about that, folks. Yep, it's a typo. I was absent-minded. I must have forgotten to do all the editing on the live stream settings. It's too late to go back now without shutting down the whole show and starting all over again. So I'll just give me a second. I'm just gonna go over here. Live 30th July 2023. Typo. All right. Sorry about that. Let me go over here, get slightly better organized if I can. How am I going to do this? Alright, okay. Oh, yes, well spotted. Bam, bam, bam. Thank you very much. Let me go over here so I can say hello. Greetings, good evening. The moon is in Capricorn, heading towards a conjunction tomorrow with dear Pluto. That particular conjunction, Moon and Pluto, will be kind of like an emotional feel, like might make you feel like, the only way I would describe it is like emotionally profound, where you might sense and become aware of these things that affect you very, very, very deep down, which you wouldn't normally bother considering, but with present life circumstances, whatever's happening in your world regarding that degree, in other words, Capricorn, Pluto, and the moon over there around the 29 degree mark Capricorn, just mark that point in your chart, because it might make you feel very, it could be anything, like very frightened, very profoundly aware that you are feeling things that you're not normally used to feeling. It's as though you might have been exposed to too much like sensory overload, and the implications are very profound. And the way I'm already interpreting it, because I can feel it, is like, really, I just want to be quiet. I just want to be very, very, very quiet inside the womb of myself. Yeah. And then, of course, it'll move on. But for tonight, as you noticed, we have this big, fat, beautiful, grand Earth trine, which is very harmonious, very stabilizing. What I've noticed for me in particular is that it's very, very soothing. Very, very soothing in here. Like, no matter what else is going on in the world, we've got all the insane politics, the insane wars, the insane global financial system, the insane health system, the insane like geological things going on. I kind of go, okay, well, that's how it is. This is what it's like living on a planet that we call Earth, with about 8 billion people here, all worried about different things. This is what it's like. There you go. I'm sorry I don't have a more exciting or turbulent or disturbing interpretation for you, but that's my interpretation, and I'm sticking to it. Alright, so we got a couple bookings already. Thank you very much. Let's get back over here. Take care of business. I just got informed that I have two. Okay, alright, so I just saw hello, just let me wait a minute, who's here? Let's have a look. What we got over here? Oh, Mr. Ross, good evening. Yes, I saw something just pop in. Thank you very much. Good evening, Love Triber. And Esther is here. Good evening, Esther. I forgot what part of the world you're in. Is it up in the Northeast? Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, New York? Was it somewhere near Buffalo, New York? Honestly, I can't remember. But anyway. Here we go. We got one reading here. And we have another one. There we go. So let's put that over here. Oh gosh, where do we start? Actually, I need my Sharpie over there. Thank you very much. Buffalo, New York. See, I nailed it somehow or other. How did I remember that? Wow, I'm quite proud of that. Thank you, Esther. Let's see. Pluto is retrograde. Saturn is retrograde. Let me just double check everything here. Make sure I got it all. Here we are today. We're way over here, 30th of July. So we got Venus retrograde, Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto all retrograde. Neptune, Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto, and a Venus over here. Here we go. Let me see if I can just rattle off a couple of items that where I don't get to, let's have a look, stuck in all the things that get me blocked and deplatformed. Let me go over here. Now, there we are. That's the donation page. Thank you very much. We've already got 2 on board. You're very, very kind. Of course, if you ever really want to dive in deep, you can go to the readings page and book a reading. It's just another orange button. You press it and you go from there. Anyway, here we are, another day on Earth. Our wonderful little planet is orbiting very consistently around our sun. Yesterday and actually today, and there's a whole like sequence of big solar flares. Actually, the one we had yesterday was really, really enormous, but it's not going to affect us too much, except like maybe some side winds, because it went off at an angle. If it had come at us directly, oh my gosh, we would have had satellite burnouts and, you know, grid down situations. So anyway, that didn't happen, but it was spectacular to see it. Just a spectacular solar flare. If you can imagine like this big nuclear furnace, and it belches out plasma radiation, just like you have indigestion after dinner and you release an enormous amount of gas. It's the same thing. But it comes out as plasma, which is this basically electromagnetic radiation, and it just splurges out into the universe. And the sun is very active right now, and it's going to become more active over next year and maybe the year after as well. So it's one of the main drivers of our what we call climate issues. And of course everybody is going in a freak out panic mode because all these scary things are happening with the so-called climate. Again, it's all highly predictable in some ways. Other ways it's completely random. Like if you look at the 4.5 billion year chart of the Earth and its history in terms of like temperatures, formations, different Pleistocene, Eocene, and whatever scenes, you know, the dinosaur era, all those things, then you get right up to present day, like with the Neolithics, the hunter-gatherers. That's only 6,500 years ago. Over in merry old England, where I used to live for years, there's a lot of ancient evidence. Lots of, like, there's Stonehenge. There's the Roman city of Bath, where the city of Bath lives underneath the current city of Bath. It's literally one city living on top of another city, and you can go underground into the old city of the Roman times. It's quite amazing. And that's 2,000 years ago. And then if you can imagine going back 4,000 or 5,000 years before that. Okay, so there were people walking around, and they had primitive clothing, they had primitive tools, and they were hunter-gatherers and fishermen, fisher people. And they had very, very crude farming, and they had very, very highly advanced social structures, but they didn't have smartphones or computers or internet or anything like that. They didn't have much in the way of weapons. I don't think they even by that time had iron, bronze, metal, or anything like that. So it was very, very rudimentary. But fast forward to where we are today, we've got all these so-called advancements, technological stuff, even though we're really not much different from the Neolithic humanoids, 6, 8, 10,000 years ago. It's quite something. Hold on. Iced tea. So, on Earth right now, Uranus, the planet Uranus, is in full swing, impacting the Earth in ways that trigger classic Uranus and Taurus vibes of very chaotic, highly unpredictable weather events. Uranus and Taurus, planet Earth, weather, sky, the oceans, the mountains, the rivers. So we're seeing really anomalous behavior with, hello Diane, massive flooding events, extreme drought, hundreds and hundreds of uncontrolled wildfires, hurricanes, tornadoes, and so on. But again, it's all predictable. Tectonic plates are shifting. Again, it's all normal, but it gets exaggerated. And now we have Jupiter in Taurus at the same time. So that kind of amplifies things. In other words, if you're going to get a catastrophic flood, it's going to be a catastrophic flood. You just have to see what's happening in China. It's mind-boggling. We have huge events here, of course, in America. We have our fires, we have our crippling heat out here in the West. Death Valley was up at 136 the other day. Outside the front door here, it's actually got cooler today. It's only about 114. So, but that's actually kind of normal. Yesterday morning and the day before, it was about 90 degrees at 5:30, 6 a.m. Crazy stuff. Maria, the original founding member of TarotLumination. That's 11,500 subscribers ago. Thank you very much, Maria. How are you doing in Arkansas? It's probably hot and steamy. Hot and steamy. That's what I meant to say. Yeah. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's pretty scary. So the way I've adapted is I just don't go outside. I've had too many heat stroke event type things happening here, and I can't take it anymore. My little body just says, no, can't do this. I just checked the weather where I used to live on Venice Beach. It is a very nice, comfortable 79 degrees. It rarely goes above 82. So you can see I'm completely and utterly spoiled. I love it in the mid-70s. That's just fine for me. Any hotter than that is just like, whoa, whew. Any colder than 60 or 55, oh, it's freezing cold. Oh, no. Maria says it's 102 there over in Arkansas. Okay, well, that's pretty steamy for Arkansas. Texas is about 110 some places. Yeah. Oh, man. So Spain is getting roasted alive. Greece, Crete, Italy, France, roasted alive. Merry old England is what it normally is. It gets pretty warm. It's pretty warm there, but it's still mostly covered in cloud. Typical. Let me go over here. Actually, you know what? I just wanted to recap a few things. Again, as predicted. Thank you, TarotLumination. Oh, no problem. Yeah, you were right. Yeah, thanks, TL. So, so we have crazy stuff going on in the capital city of the United States, where all these crazy people pretend to be running the country. And you probably noticed that there's this fellow, Uncle Joe, and his whole family are getting outed. They're getting completely and utterly outed. And you can't switch it off. They're trying to ignore it. Mainstream media, our favorites, are trying to pretend like, oh, what was that? Huh? No. What are you talking about? Joe is what? No, that's stupid. No evidence. It's just silly. He's a family man. He loves his kids. He loves his wife. He loves his granddaughters. You're just saying horrible things to an old man. So anyway, it's all coming unglued for the first family. I'm very happy about that, personally. I think it's about time. There's another famous fellow, I'm kind of a fan, and he just finished a massive rally over there in Erie, Pennsylvania. As you know, Pennsylvania was one of the very turbulent, what do they call it, states, swing states, a few years ago, where there was a lot of interference with the voting system. Anyway, so Pennsylvania has changed dramatically. and they just had the biggest crowd ever recorded in that particular stadium. I think it was like 57,000 people. It was jammed to the ceiling with people waiting outside. Can you imagine? Not even the Rolling Stones could. Well, actually, the Rolling Stones could do that. The Rolling Stones, probably, some big pop stars and stuff, they could probably do that, but no one else on earth otherwise. Yeah. So that makes me happy too. I'm, sharing some of my, political leanings here. So I was very happy about that. And this is going to sound really, really mean. Well, what's that expression? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. So there's a lot of enemies piling up on that little place across the Pacific. Well, it's got 1.4 billion people. Their whole economy is going like this. As you know, because we've talked about it before. Simultaneously, they're trying to inflate themselves on the world stage as a peacemaker. Excuse me. Right, yeah, sure. Also, another thing that really cheered me up about those folks over there in China, was that their whole Belt and Road Initiative is starting to implode. You've probably heard of that thing. It's this massive, ambitious infrastructure project. It's like this fantasy. It's like a fantasy scenario where Mr. Ping can take over the whole earth by connecting it with roads, trains, and bridges, and ports for all the seafaring ships and so on. And it started off quite well because people didn't understand the plan. But now everybody on earth who owns and runs a country has realized that, wait a minute, this is a problem. And there's at least 100 countries that have signed up to the BRI. And all those countries that sign up to the BRI, they ultimately regret it. They realize, oh God, what was I thinking? I'm now in a debt trap. My whole country is being choked under debt. And Mr. China himself is coming in and seizing assets according to the terms of the agreement. So there's a very, very bad smell going around the world about the BRI. And lately, some of their biggest projects have completely stopped altogether because China, even with its own printing press, they're printing trillions and trillions of yuan. They can't support it. They cannot support the building, the construction and everything. They can't get enough concrete. They can't get enough crews. They can't get enough steel. They can't get enough. What else do you need to build infrastructure? Concrete, steel, probably electronics, and all the big trucks and whatever. There's just not enough availability in the world to supply them. Also, it sounds like I'm being really mean and nasty, but when I look at the astrology, I'll show you in a second. Again, it's not surprising. It's all highly predictable. Saturn in Pisces, second house for China. What do you expect? Anyway, it's like they're having huge issues with their infrastructure inside China. All their massive roads and bridges and projects and cities are imploding. The whole of Beijing is doing this. It's sinking into a massive groundwater pool. It's already gone down about 3 feet in the center. And all their mega projects are basically doing the same thing because they're built as vanity projects using very corrupt banking and finance and contract deals with no thought or consideration for the long term beyond 2, 3, 5, 7 years to recoup and make all the money through the dirty business practices. So you end up with all these cities that are already starting to fall apart. And at least 1 billion Chinese people are getting sick of it. They're realizing, oh my God, we've been scammed. They're just waking up. They're waking up now to how much they have been scammed. And a lot of Chinese they're trying to escape their country. A lot of them are trying to get into Africa now because it sounds very counterintuitive, but it's actually a much better deal for the Chinese to get a job in Africa than it is to work in China. So now China is being invaded by Chinese, even more than they were already. It goes on and on and on and on and on and on. So far to date, we've got 136 billion. I believe that's the latest count of money that was shoveled over to Mr. Zelensky. And he's basically going, yeah, come on, Uncle Joe. Come on, there's more. I know you got more. Come on, send it over. More guns, more bullets, more planes, more tanks. Hand it over, or I'm going to snitch on you. That's what's happening. So all these tens of thousands of dead people, all littered all across the border between Russia and the rest of Europe. You can follow the trail. It all leads back to these dirty, evil, corrupt politicians. Here's another thing I just found out today. Elon Musk has switched his Twitter to X. It's now called X. He's turning it into a mega app, sort of like WeChat in China, where you can do financials, videos, texting, snapshot, all sorts of snapshot thingamies, a universal payment system that does not involve banks. Can you imagine that? Imagine you just basically, here, I'll just imagine that. Like, let's say I've got a smartphone. I'm very, very lucky. I've got a smartphone. So eventually I'm going to have an app on here. Well, I already have it. It's called X. But in the next few years, guaranteed over in the next few years, there's going to be financial services on X. Oh, want to book a mini reading. Okay. I think I got room for one more, Esther. Did anybody tell you what to do or how to do it? You book a mini reading, I'll show you. Just let me catch up with Esther here. Hold on. So Esther, you probably have to use a different device or a different tab on your computer or something like that. And you go to TarotLumination.com, you find the donate page, you click that, you find the orange donate button, you click that, it opens up the payment processor, you scroll down and you select pay with debit card, credit card. You don't have to have a PayPal account. So it's just like doing online shopping. Okay, so you can do it that way. You can put a modest donation and that'll show up here and then you get your mini reading. I think I already owed you one a while back and I gave you that one already, so I think we're even at the moment. Don't quote, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, so I thought that was pretty cool. Hold on, where am I? Yeah, that was pretty cool. So I'm actually kind of excited. Mr. Musk is a very controversial figure, but in general I'm kind of like, I'm sort of on board with the fellow. He's outed a lot of really bad stuff. He released all the Twitter papers to Matt Taibbi, who ripped him apart and showed the world and showed how much disgusting, evil stuff was going on inside Twitter, including child sex trafficking. Now, those are words that might get me into trouble, but so long as I talk about it in a very gentle, neutral way, I should be okay. I've checked the guidelines many times. I have to double check everything for whatever I transmit. So anyway, what happened is that, as you've probably heard, there's the movie Sound of Freedom, and it's achieving outstanding success and revenue and viewership all across America after 5 years of being suppressed by all the studios and streaming companies. But they can't shut it down. It seems to have found a way to come alive. And there's not much organized for worldwide streaming or distribution in the rest of the world. So Mr. Musk himself, Fluffles. Oh, Fluffles, yeah! All right, you got me. Okay, so that's 4 readings tonight. That's it, everybody. I can't do anything more. 4 readings. We got Gregory, Love Triber, Esther, and Fluffles. So, what's happened is that Elon is in conversation with the producers of Sound of Freedom, and Elon was suggesting, like, maybe we could just put Sound of Freedom on Twitter, make it available as a link, click, anybody in the world can watch it for free for a short period of time, just to spread the word, just to, like, get it out there, okay? So the producers are kind of going, wow, that would really make it kind of go mainstream, big time, worldwide. Wow, pretty cool. So we'll see about that. The next thing is that Elon Musk has now teamed up with Mel Gibson. God. Oh my God. Together they are trying to work out the best way to use X to expose all the little kitty fiddlers in Hollywood. With all their creepy goings on, all that stuff involving, it's very, very, very nasty stuff, unspeakable nasty stuff. It's been going on a very long time. It's been going on since probably the dawn of humanity. There's always a cluster of people who really don't know how to control their impulses, and instead they actually indulge their impulses to the point of lust. Lust for power, lust for money, and lust for control. Think of Pluto, okay? Now, think of Pluto 29 degrees. It's very, very, very extreme right now. People who are deeply vested in power and money and control to the point where it is a form of lust and they literally can't control it. And all they want is more money, more power, more control. They all start to coalesce, just the same way as, drug addicts or, artists or musicians or something. People coalesce. And so these power-hungry, lustful maniacs they seem to also have this predilection for other lustful things that involve little children, because it's so satisfying. And I think it's like something like very sick. If they can exercise so much power over such a helpless little creature called a child, it gives the perpetrator tremendous satisfaction, whatever it's called, adrenochrome, and all these very very, very sick, sacrificial kind of activities. But it's all, to me, it's all just driven by lust. And once they get a taste for it, it's very hard to switch it off. And once they get a taste for it, they create a club, because deep in the pit of their soul, 29 degree Pluto Capricorn, they're aware that there's something very unwholesome about all this stuff. On the other hand, in earthly terms, for people who are vested in these particular attributes, it's very satisfying. So they don't want to stop. They literally don't want to stop. So what they do, they coalesce together, they create a private club, they have their secret handshakes and secret symbols and all their whatever it is that they do to let each other know, I'm one of yours, you're one of mine, your secret is safe with me, my secret is safe with you, I can trust you. Anyway, they've got a terrible reputation, and Elon Musk and Mel Gibson have decided to point the finger and say, we got you. We've spotted you. We know who you are. We know where you live. We know what you do. We know how you do it. Next thing we're going to do is try to figure out, how are we going to out you by name, by face, and how are we going to hold you accountable? It's going to be tricky, because if you watch the movie, it's a it's a huge industry with these little kids. Apparently it's bigger than the airline industry. So in terms of gross revenue for all the traffickers. Very disturbing. So, oh, wait a minute, I didn't see that. Thank you, Love Trevor. Elon did that with the documentary, What is a Woman? Oh, very interesting. I did not know that. 4 million views on the first day. Okay, so you see where I'm going here. These are just snippets that I've been picking up. You know, I watch all sorts of things from all over the world, and I like to, you know, pull out little post-it notes of things that interest me in particular. There's so much you can't cover it all. But the little things that I mentioned tonight really, really struck a chord with me. So, anyway, I'm sorry I was sick last week. I'm much better this week. I still have issues up here, and there's a lot of mucus that tries to come out of my lungs. But so far, this evening, I'm holding up pretty well. Please don't be surprised if we get interrupted, because there's 3 little furry cats that live here, and 2 of them might get hungry during the show, and so I might organize a little timeout. We'll see how it goes. We'll just see what happens. Okay, so I'm just kind of giving you a heads up. Let's go over here. All right, so here's the Astrodoodle for today. Let me get the other 2 post-its out in. Yep, so we've got Fluffles. Now, Fluffles, if I recall, you're interested and curious about the issue of location regarding your enterprise. Are you in the right place at the right time with the right people for the right thing? Location. If I'm correct, please correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. If that makes sense, okay, Fluffles? Let me shuffle these along over here a tiny bit. Just need to make room because we got 4 readings tonight. And I just hope my throat holds up. I've been very fragile in the throat area, as you know. Again, I blame it all on the planets. Let me just do a couple of things. We're going to talk about the Astrodoodle in just a moment. Okay, just got to check something over here. Yep, and then we got a reading for Esther. I'm clickety-clicking around in the background while I do some admin. Okay. Hey! And Esther. Oh, that sounds good, Necessary Truth. Good evening. Alrighty. So, dear Necessary Truth, I don't know if I can handle another reading after this. I've got 4 booked up already. Sorry you didn't get notifications. That's normal for this channel. Doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter what your settings are on your devices. That's just how the algorithm works on my channel. I'm very sad about that, but whatever it is. Anyway. Just finished my iced tea. I think I'm going to leave it at that for now. Let's put this over here. So, as Love Triber pointed out, we have this big, fat, grand trine. It is in fact a grand earth trine. Capricorn, Virgo, and Taurus. So, let's make the most of this episode of stability. It really only lasts for like 8 hours or so, because the moon moves so quickly over this point here. Eventually the moon's going to be here, certainly maybe early tomorrow or something. We'll see. I don't have the charts in such detail in front of me. But anyway, this is a very stabilizing energy for the whole of planet Earth. Everything on planet Earth. Of course, there's still going to be upheaval everywhere. We've got Uranus and Taurus over here. Jupiter is fast approaching Uranus. Okay, so when Jupiter eventually conjoins with Uranus, I can't remember when that's going to be, but it's just going to expand everything, Uranus and Taurus wise. Insane global financial activity. More extreme, bizarre weather, climate, geologic issues, all that kind of good stuff. Over here, we have a very, very stressful aspect, and it's affecting some people. So I know some of us know someone who is under extreme health duress at the moment. And this particular aspect right here is a very severe, harsh opposition between Mercury and Saturn, Virgo and Pisces. So wherever this degree lies in your chart, that's where you're going to feel it. And I know someone who has this exact degree. So there's a lot of pain and suffering there right now. We also have the big fat grand cross, this thing here, but it's breaking up because the sun is already moving on away from the hard square. It's like, if I wanted to, I could make this a bright orange line, but I'm easing off a little bit. We've still got this. Okay, this is the nodal axis, south node in Libra. I better put that here, otherwise people will get confused. South node in Libra, and the north node in Aries. Okay, and that is being very under extremely hard square from Pluto. It was with the sun as well, but it's still with Pluto. That's not going to change in the next few days. This aspect is very extreme, and it's affecting everybody on Earth in wherever these points lie in your chart. The 29 degree mark, 29 degree, 29 degree. Okay, where does that land in your chart? It could be anywhere, but wherever that is, that's where you're going to feel it. So on a global scale, we're starting to transition out of the awareness of global financial chaos and upheaval, moving away from the highly fraudulent world of fiat money into a world of sovereign wealth, sovereign money, which is great if you can get it to work. Real money is the enemy of fake money. We've talked about that before many times. And the world is waking up. The thing is, the owners and operators of the world of fake money have realized that we, the people who want our sovereign wealth, have woken up. And we've realized, wait a minute, for the last 100 years, we've been scammed. We, the people, have been scammed by the world of fake money. In other words, the central banks, the central governments, the Bank of International Settlements, the IMF, the World Bank, Jerome Powell, Janet Yellen, all those people, Wall Street, fake money. And people are saying, well, wait a minute, what about, I don't even know what sovereign wealth looks like. Well, people are starting to wake up and understand there is a concept called sovereign wealth, but that requires you to have a sovereign sense of identity. Who are you really? What is the nature of your sovereign self? How can you possibly attain sovereign wealth without owning your sovereign self? Okay? So what's happening is that the 99% of the world population is still completely immersed in the world of fake money. But people are starting to wake up. I need to get out of that. How do I do that? Well, first of all, you have to claim your own sovereignty. It's very, very hard to do because their system is so deeply enmeshed that we don't know anything else. It's a belief system. Money is what you believe it to be. Money is what we believe it to be. And people are starting to lose trust in the belief system over here and understanding that real money is things like the food in your refrigerator, the gasoline in your car, the love between yourself and, say, friends and family members, the amount of community that you can share and exchange with in terms of barter, the amount of hard assets that you might own, like do you own your house outright? Do you own your car outright? Other things like no debt, okay? So no credit cards, no college loans, no mortgage, no car payments, no business loans, no commercial real estate loans, nothing like that. Debt, no debt. How do you go from a world of perpetual debt into a world of sovereign wealth with zero debt? Well, it's very tricky. So what's going to happen over the next year and a half during this journey here? Billions of people are going to start waking up, and they're going to start realizing, wow, I really, really deserve to be me. Aries, I'm going to put me first instead of putting my relationships with other people's money first. I'm going to put me first and then worry about all those fake money people later on without apologies, okay? I'm going to do whatever I have to do to protect myself, my money, my privacy, my security, my integrity above you, the owners and operators of the world of fake money. My relationship with you is over. It has to be drawn down. It has to be concluded. It has to be shrunk. Okay? You could say this represents sick, unhealthy, redundant, obsolete relationships, especially regarding other people's money, like, in other words, banks, credit cards, mortgages, car payments, all of that. Understand that there is an alternative. It's a tricky journey. Humanity's never been here before, specifically in this way on a grand scale. But it's happening right now. It's just started the Aries North Node journey for the next year and a half. Okay? It's going to get very uncomfortable fairly soon when the North Node conjoins with Chiron. That's this point right here. We're not there yet, okay? But in the meantime, let's look at it this way. In the meantime, the healthiest thing that you, the observer, the viewer, the person hanging out with the channel right now, is to prioritize the self over the other. It doesn't mean you have to be mean. You don't have to divorce or separate or blow off your friends and family and loved ones. It just means understanding that you can't be the best person you can be for them without being the best person for you first. So it sounds like I am promoting selfishness, narcissism, egomania, all those like negative expressions of selfishness. I'm not. I'm saying learn how to be selfish. Learn how to love thyself. This is no better time than to learn how to love thyself. I even put it on the headline of my channel. Love thyself. So that's kind of what I'm talking about here. And with the Pluto, Capricorn, and hard square, the message is very, 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 very loud. It's extreme, extreme pressure. This Pluto pressure is on the pivot point here of the nodal axis. This is the nodal axis. The message here is very simple. It's very profound. It's what I've just been describing here. It's very, very profound. It's time to Reclaim your identity, your sovereign self. You don't have to live on a mountain and become a bachelor or bachelorette and dump all your friends and family. All I'm suggesting is before you operate in default behavior with your relationship dynamics with whoever it might be, friends, family, whoever, banks, bankers, credit card companies, whoever it might be, examine the nature of that relationship and figure out like what's actually going on here. Is this like a default thing? Am I just automatically giving all my power away out of, politeness or out of social expectations or out of, conditioning? It's time to ask questions. So anytime you feel something awkward or uncomfortable about this part of your life, wherever that is in your chart, listen to that message, okay? And then realize, oh, whoa. Okay, I'm going through something here. Here's an example. So, I'm going through a situation where there's a few people in my life where I've had to do, I'm deliberately withdrawing in order to, let's say, claim and reclaim my own sovereign self so I can be the best person I can be for that person or those people. And the best way to do that right now is to sequester all that time and all that energy that I would normally be expending with them and reclaim that for myself, own all that energy, reformat that for myself, and then reconsider how I want to proceed with those people. I guarantee it will be better. What does better look like? That's a whole different thing. Because I guarantee the people with whom I am exchanging at those levels, they're going through their own version of the same thing. I'm encouraging, just like I'm doing here right now, I'm encouraging everyone here tonight to consider yourself first. If you're not used to thinking or feeling or behaving that way, just think of keywords, like think of Aries energy. Aries would automatically put themselves in first position. Let's say there's a race going on. They're not going to put themselves in the third position or fourth position and thinking, well, I'll catch up later. No. They're going to jockey and push themselves right to the front of the line. And they're not even going to question their behavior. If someone doesn't like it, then that's their problem. That's the other person's problem. Because they should be prioritizing their first position as well. You see where I'm getting at here? What's the other expression? Think of Mars. Mars rules Aries. What would Mars do? Mars would be prioritizing the self. I need what I need. I want what I want. I have to get what I have to get, so I'm going to do it. What does it take to do it? Well, how am I going to expend my energy? What's that going to look like? Fight or flight. First option is fight. Get in there and fight. And if you realize this isn't working, then flight. Get out. Save yourself. No apologies, okay? Mars would also indicate winning, competing, making it your business to prevail in a situation. Doesn't mean you have to hurt others to prevail. It just means you maintain you hold your integrity, you hold your position in an argument, for example, or in a financial position, or in a relationship position. It doesn't mean you have to be hostile. There's Mars energy and there's Mars energy. Healthy Mars energy would be very assertive, strong, direct, totally unambiguous. Okay? The beauty about Aries and Mars energy is that you know exactly where you stand. If an Aries person doesn't like you, they're just pretty much like Sagittarius. They're going to tell you to your face, listen, man, I just don't like you. I don't like the things what you do, what you think, how you do it. I don't care. I'm gone. Bye. Good luck. Have a good life. Some people would be utterly offended by that behavior. Same thing with Mars. Probably the healthiest thing you can do is to basically resist anyone and anything and set up force fields to keep anyone and anything away from you that's unhealthy for you. Prioritize the self. Of course, if you get carried away and you end up stepping on somebody's toes, you hurt their feelings, you can rationalize it. You can say, well, I didn't mean any offense. I'm just stating my position, holding my own ground. And I'm sorry if you can't handle that. You're going to have to figure that out yourself. If worse comes to the worst, you can apologize later. And you're not going to ask for permission now. You're going to do what you have to do now to be who you have to be right now. It can be done in a forceful, assertive, strong, confident way without having to hurt other people. Just like a Sagittarius. I never heard that one. Oh my God. Hello, Ivona. Okay. Thank you, Diana. I'm just reading more of your note there. Thank you so much. Really helps me to keep the channel going, you know. So, you know what? It's time. We got to get started here, folks. We got a bunch of readings to do. And necessary, if you were wanting a reading, we could do it during the week if you like. You know, I could do a mini reading during the week. So, but for tonight, I think I've got more than enough. Really got my hands full here with 4 readings. So we're going to start. We've got, first up is Mr. Ross. You know what? Let me just clear up some space here. And I got my notes over here. Got these over there. We'll put this aside. Chances are we might need it during one of the readings. All right, first up, Mr. Ross. Cards are well shuffled in advance, but we're going to go to the last minute so that you are a witness. Let's bless every single card. Bless the whole deck. Bless the internet. Bless my connections. Bless the microphones, all the cameras, all the lights, all the different multi-softwares that we use to run the show. Bless your internet connections. All of that good stuff. Let's see what's going on. Okay, we're going wild. We're going to do an open reading. Thank you, Necessary. Glad you understand. Just give me one more round, Gregory, and then we're going to dive right in. So what kind of messages do we have from Mr. Ross this evening? Mr. Ross, you've probably been going through a ton of stuff. If I recall, you had a major victory on one of your legal battles, holding court and representing the people who have no voice. Most people know you, Mr. Ross, as a fighter, as a man of the law, who basically stands up for justice and the law, even in the most extreme adverse situations. And you have a reputation for helping people who have little chance of helping themselves and who deserve your care and attention. All right, here we go. Let's have a look. Now, before I get started, in case there's people watching who've never done this, I'm using my TarotLumination situational spread. We've been doing it for years. It's very simple. No reversals, nothing. So I just like the cards the way they're made, like an artist. Think of it. I like to think of myself as an artist, a writer, a musician. So, and I don't paint paintings upside down. Here we go. Some people love doing reversals. All right, here we go. A lot of people on this show love to read their own cards. Oh my gosh. All right, so here we go. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. And here's how we're going to handle things. And we're going to look at external influences. As you know, I often default to the planets, because I basically blame the planets for everything. Here we go. Let's have a look. The whole deck is upside down. All right, so flip, flip, flip. Don't take it personally. I'm just reading it as a technical glitch here. Look at this. Kaboom. It doesn't get much better than that. Happiness, joy, owning the healing power of love, having, I would say, a direct connection to the gods, being in a state of divine grace, and owning it all without any evidence. The only way I can describe it is like this. Here's the energy I'm describing. Imagine I am you, okay, Gregory? And just imagine, like, what would you look like as a human being with a life well lived, an enormous, kind, powerful, generous heart, a fierce, savage vibe of the lawman, a fierce sense of justice, and a love of being happy. Well, just imagine, what I'm you looking in the mirror. What would that look like? Well, I'm going to give you an example. Watch this. You see? You never know. It's like you, to me it feels like you own all this inside of you, like massive, like gold bars. It's just like, oh, that's you. That is you at this very moment in time. Okay, fine. Very, very nice. It really doesn't get much better than that. Let me go back over here for a second. For whatever reason, perhaps this is something to do with this big, fat, grand Earth trine, which happens to be in particular signs, Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus, that are very, very supportive for your particular energy. Let's just state that as a fact. So this would create a tremendous sense of internal wealth, stability, harmony, security, that really nobody could steal. Nobody can take this from you. They could try, but it's almost like they would fail. All right, let's have a look. What's the situation? What do we got here? Oh God, I did have it right now. Okay, so we've got the Five of Cups. Okay, this is slightly contrarian energy here. So with the Five of Cups, it might be this your situation. I don't know if you've had a loss recently of some kind, maybe at the personal level, something very private, very deep, very, very personal that you probably wouldn't even want to share on the channel live right now. But somewhere in there, perhaps it could be a part of yourself where there's a part of you where you feel like you've let yourself down in some way, and it's history. It's already gone. It's too late. Like the damage is done. The pain has already happened, and all that's left is remorse, sadness, grief, regret. To me, it feels like this is very personal, very, very private, and it feels like it's almost nothing to do with anybody else besides you. And it's almost like, it feels like you're almost looking in the river, recognizing yourself. That, yeah, okay, thanks TL, I got all that. Great, awesome. But I still hurt. There's a part of me which still really, really, really hurts deep down inside anytime I even just glance at it. It might be something to do with your personal Chiron or something like that. I don't really know at this point. But to me, it feels like we're looking at an episode in time where, now this might sound contradictory, this tremendous moment of stability here is giving you the strength and the courage to glance into the river in a way that you would normally never do, because you know deep down in that river all the contents and flow of your life are already there. You've lived this, you've lived that. There's more flow to come. But what I'm sensing is that perhaps something to do with all these retrogrades, especially Venus retrograde just started. It might be to do with love lost. I've done the best I can, and of course there's still more life to come. There's still more love out there for you. There's a whole world ahead for you. There's a journey ahead. Yes, it means having to take your focus away from whatever it hurts deep down in your soul, and then literally walk away on the understanding that this is history. There's nothing you can do. You've already got a life well lived. You've lived a life. There's more life to come. You cannot afford to be burdened by grief forever. It's very toxic, and you know that. Let's keep going. What's the problems here? Keep moving on. So, we got the Emperor. And Emperor is very powerful energy. This is a major arcana. This is major arcana. And in this position, this reading, it makes me feel that there's a lot of deep remorse, deep regret that is triggering some. Well, it's not triggering. It's just that you're reflecting on some parts of your life, some chapters, some history, some events, circumstances in your life that represent a lot of pain and a lot of suffering. And for whatever reason, they're coming to the surface at this moment in time for you to observe and reflect upon it. And it's at the point where it's so deep, so sensitive, so delicate, so personal, so private, that it makes you question your sovereign self. Your ability to be your full, sovereign, complete, utter boss, the commander of you. The commander, Gregory Ross, commander-in-chief of Gregory Ross. And perhaps even with business, Gregory Ross, the commander-in-chief of Gregory Ross Incorporated. Is it even remotely possible? Is it even thinkable? Am I even remotely up for the task? Has it already been blown and gone? Am I just a shadow of myself? Oh no, oh no, oh no. Okay, let's figure out how we're going to keep going. Okay, so the Page of Cups. Okay, for me this is a reminder that the whole of life is a journey anyway, and if you kind of accept it and look at it as a journey, let's just say we're tapping into some of the energies here of the North Node, the journey of the North Node, not the destination, the journey. You might be going through a moment where you're starting to realize at the 29th degree here, oh my God, I have either lost or given away or self-destructed in my own sovereign self, my own integrity, to the point of almost total loss. How on earth could I, Gregory Ross, have ever allowed that to happen? Well, it's a journey of love, learning how to love thyself. So in some ways you might be still very young, naive, and innocent on this journey with a lot more to learn. And all of that lies ahead of you in this lifetime now. So let's look forward. Let's look forward. Keep facing forward instead of being lost and buried here in a world of regret. Let's face forward. Understand that this is, in other words, it's okay to have an extreme reading like this, but the journey has to be maintained and continued going forward in this direction, which is represented here. Okay? Think of yourself with the Mars energy. Think of vitality, youth, vigor, energy, the desire to keep fighting and living and fighting to be you. And on that way, in that process, you are learning more and more about the essence of love. What does that mean? How do I love myself better? How do I do that? Have I been self-destructive? Have I been my own worst enemy? Oh my God, now I can see so clearly that, wow, many, many times I have. Well, it doesn't have to be that way anymore. Anytime I see myself self-destructing, I am going to say, enough! What is the most loving thing I can do right now? In other words, love myself, fluff myself up, make myself feel divine. Remember, I am loving, I am loved. Love thyself first. Okay? You've got it. You're already like a fully charged battery, ready to go to deal with all this. So don't worry. Okay? Thank you very much. Next up, we've got Love Triber. I'm going to put these away for a moment. Let's have a look. Shuffle, 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 shuffle. Have a look. Let me see. I'm going to put on a teeny tune to which I can shuffle very gently. Won't take long. Okay, let's just do it. Okay, very quickly. I don't know, my deck got all mixed up. I have no understanding. Okay. Anyway, give me a second. I'm going to have to obviously fix this. think we got it. Oh, okay, hold on. Let me just catch up with the notes here. Give me a second. I remember it's to do with location. Hi, TL. My question is about opening my company up here in a few months, and will I be successful doing it, or will it be an uphill battle? My location is California. Now, so if I recall, because we've worked together before, you were considering different locations, but as far as I remember, all locations were in California. Am I misunderstanding here, or are you considering a location outside of California? I might as well, since you've got a very precise disclosure here on your notes, I'd rather clear that up. Why do some people have to tool their names? So, I was just going to ask that. Fluffles, what type of business? Okay, will there be a physical location? Why do some people have a tool after their names? The tool after the name means the name is marked as a it's to do with the channel. Esther, it's to do with the channel. It's called a moderator. Moderators have the power on the channel to block nasty people from messing up the show. Okay, well, dear Fluffles, it looks like you're getting multiple readings on the side, whether you like it or not. So, let's let the chat work itself out. You're wondering whether you're going to be successful or will it be an uphill battle. Opening up your company here in a few months. Okay, so you're in California. All right. Obviously, if you're opening up a business, you want to be successful. Okay. Let's see, what kind of messages do we have for Fluffles regarding setting up her new business in California? That's really the essence of what we're dealing with here. Cards are very well shuffled, all cleaned up and de-reversed. I don't know how those reversals got in there, but they did. So anyway, let's have a look. It's probably from, I don't know, who knows when. Well, hold on a minute. I'm reading for Love Triber. So, look, Fluffles, we're going to come to your reading in just a little while, okay? I'm on Love Triber. Yeah. This is the Love Triber reading. Okay? Over here, Fluffles, you're after that. And then Esther. All right, Love Triber, let's have a look. Let's see what's going on. What kind of messages do we have here for you tonight? Let's have a look. Here's situation. Here's challenges, and here's how we're going to handle things. So let's have a look at the external influences. So we've got the Lovers. All sorts of ways to interpret this. It looks like very beautiful energy to me. And some people call this the energy of decision making. It's hard to understand how and why, but it's the choices that we make to be with others and for others to be with us. What does that look like? What are the consequences of some of these big decisions? What does it look like for this person to pair up with this person? Why in particular? Okay? So it's a question of like, how do you share your energy? With whom do you share your energy? How do you allow other people to share their energy with you? Because one of the tricky things about the energy of decisions is that you get left with this awkward feeling that a lot of people can't handle it. And it's often associated with Libra energy, Venus energy. I have a friend, he's a very powerful, has a very strong Libra identity. And one of the things he really, really struggles with is decisions. and decision making, especially with relationships. When he loves, he loves. When he loves the people he loves them like an unbreakable bond. But if those people betray them, it's very, very hard for them, because he still loves them, and then he has to struggle to sever that relationship and reclaim his sovereign self, a sovereign identity. And he suffered a lot of damage from the unhealthy expressions of Libra energy in his body, where he's too kind, he's too loving, too generous, too accommodating, doesn't want to cause friction, doesn't want to be draw a line. And yet, in each situation, he was forced to. Even today, he's struggling with these issues. Okay, and so you end up with like the energy of decisions, like decisions about relationships. I'm not saying to exclude or include certain relationships, but to understand how your relationship with certain people, certain significant others, will impact you directly. In other words, it's almost like we're at a crisis point, where if you just automatically let yourself default to your default setting in any relationship, that could be a real problem. And so you're left with this decision, like, oh my God, now I understand what you're talking about. Each time that I get into an interchange or an exchange of energy with people or certain specific people, you have to kind of give yourself like a 3-second rule or a 10-second rule before you engage, such that, in other words, do a double check. Like, am I in good condition before I engage in this conversation with this person? Is my blood pressure right? Is my temperature right? Is my temperament in the right place? Am I prioritizing myself and my health as number one here before I dive into the pool of relationship? Okay? And the thing about the energy of decisions is that you have to be aware of the decision-making process as it's flowing and moving through your body. A lot of people aren't aware of that, but it is a phenomenon. It's an energy field, because we're making sometimes tens of thousands of decisions a day. But a lot of us think, oh, maybe it's only one decision. Should I buy ice cream today or not? Should I even buy any at all for the next week or the next month or not? That's a decision. And it goes through a filtering process. And again, just like with computer code, everything resolves to a 0 or a 1. All computer languages, all computer codes revolve around a 0 and 1. They have a language that they use to type it all in, but that language translates into zeros and ones inside the computers. And so in the world of decision making, it's a 0 or it's a 1. That's all it ever is. It's either this or it's that. If it's that, it's not this. If it's not this, then it's that. The thing is about Libra, they kind of want to be here. Like, I don't want to hurt their feelings. I don't want my feelings to be hurt by them either. So I'm just going to see if we can find a middle ground. And that becomes a black hole. That becomes quicksand. That means being stuck in a roadside ditch. The worst thing possible for you. And so understanding the phenomenon right now going forward, you're leaning heavily on this beautiful fat grand earth trine. Seize the moment. Understand that going forward in life from here onwards, it's very important to understand the phenomenon of decision making and how it operates in your body, how it feels. Because your brain is doing it whether you like it or know it or not. So it's time to bring it into full conscious awareness. What's the situation? Okay. Okay, so we've got something to celebrate here. So, dear Love Triber, there's probably going to come a time soon where you could very quietly, modestly, and joyfully share whatever good news that you may have with a few significant others. Whatever that might be, health, money, relationships, whatever it is. You know more than anyone else what we would be talking about, but it's selective. You can pick all three or more. But there's a lot to celebrate. There's a lot to be grateful for. There's a lot to be, let's say, gratitude, celebrated. And this would not be possible. This would not have been possible without you yourself having already gone through a massive journey of grinding decisions, whether to do this or that, say this or say that, write this or write that. Do this or do that. Do this or don't do this. Don't do this or do that. Whatever it is. Sometimes it's very, very extreme. And some of these decisions have massive life-changing consequences. But either way, it's still a decision. 0 or 1. 1 or 0. Okay? So, this is very good news. Something that you can cherish. You could even extend it. Like, there's a lot to be grateful here. And I think it goes, like, you could almost say, like a pivot point here in life where you realize, oh my gosh, wow, I really am lucky. I really, really am lucky. So, what's the challenges? There's always a challenge. Okay. My feeling here, the challenge is just not knowing the exact details of what the future looks like. We've done a lot of work together, Love Triber, over the years, and you are very futuristic. You have a lot of energy vested in what is forward, what is ahead, what is the journey like, what are the challenges, what's there to look forward to that's exciting and fun, what's there to be aware of that could be dangerous and painful. Either way, it's about looking forward. And it makes me feel as though there's this part of you which has just got this desperate craving to know all the answers now about what the future looks like. Well, I don't know anybody. I mean, I get I get impressions about future. I can get predictive about macro scale things on global politics and finance and things like that. But I'm not a fortune teller. I can get impressions, I can get, I don't know, but in our work in the past, you like to have very clear definitions of and understandings of what does that epic journey look like ahead of me. What am I going to do tomorrow? What's it going to look like the month after, the week after, the year after? What's it going to look like? Where is it going to take me? How am I going to get there? Is there danger on the way? Am I going to continue to be happy? Oh no, I don't know. I need to know now. But you can't, because life is a journey. You'll get there, and as soon as you get to the next step, you're going to do this. You're going to do the same thing. Oh dear. Okay, so how are we going to deal with this going forward? I think we just do it by declaration. Understand that you've already got it. You know what it looks like. You've got the raw ingredients. This is happiness in the home, happiness in the family, happiness with your loved ones. Knowing that you are loving, knowing that you are loved. Sharing that love with the ones you love. And then allowing the ones who love you to share themselves with you. It doesn't get better than that. This would be the energy of the community that you share. Your friends, your family, your home, your loved ones, and all the amazing abundance that you have. It really translates into a worldly phenomenon that we call happiness. Love. For a lot of people, love equals happy. Happy equals love. Be loving, be loved. And so going forward, it's the recognition in some ways that you now officially have it all. So it's now time to enjoy it, live within the confines, live within the decisions and the reality of your existing world, and enjoy it for the beauty and the abundance that it really is in its own particular unique way. All right, so there we go. Fluffles, you're up. Okay, I'm going to shuffle. Okay, I'm going to play my 2A song. This is coming out of the blue. Thank you very much. Oh, happy Aquarius full moon. Yeah, good point. Well spotted. Necessary truth. So that is coming. Exactly when is that coming? So it's pretty soon, isn't it? In fact, it's on the 1st. Wow. That's right. Wow. Leo Sun, Aquarius Moon. Kaboing! Okay, so it's very, very close. We're going through the Capricorn Moon right now, but the Moon is going to end up here in Aquarius on the 1st. So today is Sunday, so we've got Monday, and then Tuesday is the 1st. So at that point, the Aquarius Moon will be here. Leo Sun will be just nudging over here. So there's going to be a very pure, exact opposition over here. And the Sun and the Moon will be parting ways from this massive hard T-square. All right. Dun 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 dun. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. I'm going to play my Second Amendment song. Let's see if I can find it. Here it goes. This is it, people. Brace yourself. Okay, I'm calling this my 2A song. It's from TarotLumination. I hope you can hear it. You should be able to hear it. Yeah. Something out of it. When will I stop being censored? All I'm doing is speaking the truth. Instead I am labeled as a domestic terrorist, extremist with a short fuse. The fake news just lies and suppresses. The Marxists are writing the scripts. The unaware masses get led to their slaughter while patriots try to resist. Oh, you can't take me down and you can't shut me up. I got the First Amendment by right. And if the first one is threatened, I've still got the second. I won't go down without a fight. Yes, we still have our sweet Constitution, but it's severely being abused. Our only solution is a new revolution to take back what belongs to you and me. I'm sick of the perverts and pedos trying to normalize child sacrifice. They revel in evil and their satanic rituals packaged in their delicious lies. No, you can't take me down and you can't shut me up. I got the First Amendment by right. And if the first one is threatened, I've still got the second. I won't go down without a fight. It all began way back on 4th of July in 1776. The founders and fighters gave their lives for our freedom. I don't want to live through that again. You see, I'm recalling a past life from that exact time. I shed blood to shake off the chains of the tyrants and despots who owned us like cattle. But if I have to, I'll fight them again. No, you can't take me down and you can't shut me up. I got the First Amendment by right. And if the first one is threatened, I've still got the second. I won't go down without a fight. No, you can't take us down and you can't shut us up. We got the First Amendment by right. If the first one is threatened, we've still got the second. We won't go down without a fight. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you like that, Fluffles. Yeah. So there you go. I'm glad you like it. I hope the words are clear enough that people can understand what I'm actually talking about. I have to be so careful. I should be more careful. I'm glad you like that, Gregory. I'll be playing it again. Oh, by the way, big announcement. The song is now available on Apple Music, iTunes, and Spotify. I think it's also available on YouTube Music, but I don't know what that is. Anyway, it's my latest masterpiece. When I was writing it, I feel like I was in some kind of past life, and I was imagining myself in very, very scruffy, dirty clothes, probably some kind of military uniform, very bedraggled, but very proud and strong and happy. And I was marching along with some of my buddies, celebrating a certain victory around about 4th of July 1776, around those dates, because there was a lot of war at that time as the United States decided to take on its right to be its own sovereign self. I haven't done this, but it might be that maybe the Aries North Node was happening right then. Who knows? Ivona, it's a hit record until they take it down. So yeah, it's I'm really proud of that. It's on iTunes, Apple Music, and Spotify. Those are the big ones as far as I understand. As you can tell, I'm not a pop star, I'm not a rock star. I don't think I've received any payments from my music in 25 years, maybe 30 years. I made albums, I had record deals, I had publishing deals. I used to do lots of concerts, events, sometimes I had a little band. It was wonderful. And wrong, it could spread like fire, who knows? Maybe some big, constitutionalist type folks will pick up on the song and spread it around in their world. I don't know. I would be very, very proud of that. What I would love if my song was so famous and they could play it at a rally where hosted by that fellow Donald. Okay, I've given away my politics. I don't care. Anyway, who cares? So anyway, that's just the way I'm built. You don't have to be built like that. But anyway, that's how I am. All right, so we've got a reading now for Fluffles. I'm glad you like it, Fluffles. I'm very, very proud of that song. Cards are well shuffled. I was shuffling while the song was playing, but I want to go to the last second so that you're a witness. All right, let's have a look. What kind of messages do we have here for Fluffles regarding her new business in California? If she's going to open up that as a location and so on. Because we know she's planning to do so. Let's have a look. Now remember, Fluffles, right now there are a lot of retrograde planets. So this would be the ideal time to do a lot of homework, research, background checking of all sorts of anything and everything that you can imagine regarding setting up a business. Frankly, let me just show you if I've got the charts. Where are they? Like retrogrades are really important when it comes to things like businesses, because it becomes very obvious in business when things go retrograde. So right now we've already got very serious retrogrades with Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto. We just started with Venus. That's for July. Then we got August. Look at that. Same thing. Venus, Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto. But later on, we're going to get Mercury and Uranus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 planets retrograde at the end of August. And the early stages of September over here, okay? And it's only till late September that there's a little bit of release of pressure, but you've still got massive wall of heavy retrogrades in the planets that are farther out. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. So understand that whatever can go wrong will go wrong. It's better to live through this process and learn and observe and do all the geological surveys, do the financial surveys, do the explorations about, the markets, the marketplaces, your preferred audience, your preferred customers, your preferred customer base. Really dig into that. Now, that's September. October is still very intense. Okay? But things are released with Pluto in October. And Pluto in Capricorn. So that'll be a relief for business. Okay? The relief for business will start to come in October. But you still got Saturn, one of the planets of business, still retrograde in October, okay? And that's not going to release until November. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out. It could be very, very frustrating. Like, for example, in American politics and stuff, what I see in particular is a very long, slow grind as the American political environment goes through these grinding convulsions, which are very tedious and painful to watch, as everything that can go wrong will go wrong, especially for the criminals in Washington. All the criminals in Washington, they're going to be outed. But it's not going to be like a switch. It's going to be a very long, slow grind as these criminals get slowly outed and squeezed further into a corner where there's nowhere to hide. Okay? That's just Washington. That's my story on Washington. But for you, Fluffles, we don't know what it's going to be like. That's why we're doing a mini reading. I'm just going to do one last mini shuffle here. Okay, so what kind of messages do we have for Fluffles? You're already successful. You're already used to being successful. You know what the ingredients are for success, and it comes naturally to you. But starting this new chapter in life, you can't leave it to chance. You can't just go, "Oh, I know what I'm doing," and just dive in on your on default settings, default behavior. You have to consider every single relationship, especially when it comes to business and money. A lot of your new enterprise might pivot very heavily around the relationships, okay? Discovering a lot about what does not work about your business relationships. Is it particular professional people? Is it particular banks, particular bankers, particular financial plans? Figuring out what's not working. And once you know what's not working, then you have a better chance of figuring out what does work. And what does work is what's best for you, even if it means cutting off old, redundant, obsolete, unhealthy, unproductive quagmire of relationships. Not all relationships, but some. Okay? All right, here we go. Let's have a look. Here's the situation. Here's some challenges here, how we're going to handle it. Let's have a look at the externals. Ding! Okay, it's very early days. Okay, Fluffles? This isn't hardly even in the planning phase at this point. This is about the emotional, mental, spiritual setting of the compass. Understanding that you are determined and you will start a new journey forward. What does that journey look like? Right now, the compass is vast and open and unsettled. And it's really important to not rush this. This is the Two of Wands. This, to me, indicates a strong intention to move forward with your new life in the right path, the right direction that works for you. But it's still very undeterminate at this point. And there won't be any clarity. Like we said, there won't be any clarity for some time. But this is very optimistic. This is almost like the understanding that you know you're going to be okay. You know you have to start a new journey. You know that there are a tremendous amount of unknown factors ahead of you. But the journey begins at some point. Nonetheless, you have to start somewhere. And it's basically starting right about now. All right, let's have a look. What's the situation itself? Oh, wow. So we've got the Knight of Wands here. This is to me, this is very powerful, supportive energy. It's what you are going to need in order to move forward successfully. I mean, okay, this is very masculine energy, but just imagine yourself in there with some girl features. Okay? There are certain cultures and moments in history where certain societies were led by very powerful, very fierce, very capable women. And the men were okay with that. They understood, wow, if she's willing to go out there and do that stuff, then I can stay home. I can be a stay-at-home dad. I can look after the farm. I can look after the animals. I can build a new barn. I can build a new shed, a new hut. I can go hunting and fishing in the local regional. And when my dear power woman comes back, having succeeded, then we're going to really make out and make babies and do cool stuff and have a big party around the campfire. Yay. So, I see your note there. Giddy up, Fluffles. Giddy up. So, yeah. Going forward, number one, it's number one, you are courageous. But on top of that, you're going to need to be courageous. You're going to need to create, like, to literally fluff up your aura. I remember, some of you may remember when I hosted those private healing videos, and we would do all these very bizarre, weird, super advanced yoga stuff for basically what's called fluffing the aura. Well, that's what we call it here anyway. Fluffing your aura, getting yourself in shape so that your aura is just magnificent and radiant, okay? And that's personally what I feel is the most efficient, beneficial way to spend your energy right now, rather than having to sort of get your head into a grindstone of like figuring out how am I going to, play the chess piece of business and move this part. How am I going to do that? You're already a business person. You know how to succeed. You know what it's like to win. You know what it feels like to win and to succeed. So when I see the cards here, the way they're coming out, it's time to kind of indoctrinate yourself and turn yourself into this glorious achiever type energy, this fighter, this warrior type energy, where your natural setting is this Knight of Wands here. No apologies. So let me go over here for a second. I want to show you something. Let me show you. There's probably all sorts of books out there regarding this subject, but I love this book. It's like almost like a Bible to me. Okay. Oops, something happened. So over here, it's very well illustrated. Some certain sections have beautiful. Let's see if I can find them. Hold on. Here's some beautiful auric energy in a healing situation. Let me go back over here. Here's an example of, let me see, the different layers of auras and stuff like that. It's hard to show here, but here's some examples of illustrations of people. Some people who are supremely radiant in their aura, to the point where the aura is literally just a ball of light, turquoise and gold. And at the core, it would have this essence of gold. Like if you can see auras, you would see a strong overlay of gold that permeates everything, and it dominates all other auras, all auric energies. So the point that I'm trying to get at here is that rather than focusing on the business, okay, Fluffles, right now, you already know what that is. You know what you want, you know what to do, you know how to do it and all that. It's a question of getting yourself in the right condition. And so I was thinking, fluffing the aura, fluffing your aura, okay? So it would be like I used to teach these classes about how to fluff the aura and how to bring your auric field into the most optimal level that you can for who you are. And sometimes that requires tremendous amounts of cleansing. And it sounds odd, but the way you actually bring out your most optimal aura is by doing a lot of cleaning and removing all the toxins, the spiritual toxins that we carry on our body, sort of like the air filter in a car engine, or the filters in a vacuum cleaner. The reason those filters exist is to trap and capture all the goop, all the nasty stuff, and then you can dispose of the goop and have a clean environment. So it's the same thing with the physical body. You do these really bizarre exercises on the physical body, which actually work to cleanse the aura of anything that's unhealthy or toxic. And so what happens is, once you've removed all the toxins, your natural golden aura starts to shine out from underneath. Does that make sense? Anyway, it's getting, what I'm seeing here with the Knight of Wands is that you already know what it's like to carry Knight of Wands energy, but you might have forgotten over time because of this, this or that, or feeling down about this, or be distracted by that, or disappointed by, this or that thing in life. You got to get back to you. Get yourself back to your maximum aura. And you can research online. You might go to some kind of local yoga place and ask them if you can meet up with anyone who specializes in cleansing the aura. It's very specific stuff. Cleansing the aura, all right? Now, what's the problem here? You love to be the boss. You want to be the boss right now. It might also be, I'm just going to put this out there, okay, Fluffles? Just for the record. I'm not really sensing it very strong. But it makes me feel like, damn it. I wish I didn't have to be the guy in my life. I wish I didn't have to do all these typically very masculine things in order to achieve and succeed and to do what I have to do to get done what has to get done. Wouldn't it be so nice? We talked about that in another reading, about role reversal, for example. Wouldn't it be so nice if some amazing fellow came along and did all that manly stuff, success, money, control, and power, so I could just go off and be a girl? Be the woman. Anyway, so there you are. I'm going to go back to my first interpretation, which is the feeling like I like to win. I like to succeed. I like to be I like to be in command. I like to be in command in such a way that people understand they can't mess with me, but they also love working with me. They love being with me because they know that I have the natural winning ingredients. It's part of my nature is to win, to succeed. And I love being that way. I love feeling that way. And the reason this card is here is because I don't exactly feel that way right now. And I wish I could just automatically get that way and be that way. So I can do what I have to do, be who I have to be. Who, what, when, why, where, how. All of that good stuff. Because it's tough. It's tough being me. It's tough being Fluffles. People don't realize the things that I do, the things that I have to do. Being the boss of things, taking charge of things. Not only creating success for myself, but creating leading by inspiration so that others feel the success for themselves. In other words, it's not like you're just trying to exploit situations and business opportunities to aggrandize yourself. It's about creating win-win situations. By putting yourself first, creating a winning environment for you, you're actually helping your counterparts to succeed in their own way. Taking your business, being very successful in your business means having happy customers. All right, let's have a look. How are we going to get there doing all this stuff? Notice at the moment there's no mention of location. Okay, let's have a look. Whoa, look at these freaking powerful cards, man. Oh my gosh. Fluffles. Way forward. Way forward it's almost, to me, goes through to me it's really all about reclaiming your essence. Reclaiming your sovereign self. Your full magnificent self. Not just at your core spirit, but in terms of 3D. Financial integrity. Financially happy. You built your. See, there you go. You know all about that. Everybody, it might be an idea if everybody looked and read the notes from Fluffles just here. She had 8 employees by the time she was 30. She built her second home at age 27. How many people do you know in America can do that? It's very, very rare. Fluffles has a gift. And she is being called upon to rekindle, reactivate, restructure, redesign, rebuild that gift at in a new way. So, again, This big fat grand earth trine here, you could say that's very much to do with business, integrity, money, finance, stability. Okay? Yeah, it's a tremendous amount of work. But with the King of Pentacles here, my feeling is that ultimately the way forward is to basically take charge of the money. Make sure that you become the boss of the money. Money coming in, money going out. Where does the money come from? Where does it go? I don't, every business is different. For example, I learned in a few things that some businesses are very, very heavily dependent on having very powerful, solid relationships with their financiers, perhaps your bankers, for example. In other words, even in this day of age, even though I talk about like don't carry any debt or whatever like that, but in certain businesses it's all about debt. It's all about borrowing and lending. And for example, have you heard of? You've probably heard of him, Robert Kiyosaki. He's one of the world's top gurus on money and finance and how to build wealth, amass wealth, create wealth, own wealth. He understands a lot about borrowing and lending. He understands about running businesses. He understands about outsourcing things to people to do stuff for him so that he can be an owner. And in the middle, he has one particular business which is heavily involved in real estate. He owns he owns, I think it's 15,000 units of some kind, commercial rental and residential rental. Not commercial, but, sorry. I'm talking about Robert Kiyosaki. Multifamily rentals and single-family rentals. He owns thousands and thousands and thousands of that. So he has a massive cash flow issue. He receives massive amounts of cash every month from all of his tenants. And guess what? He also has massive commitments to his lenders. But it works. His lenders, the people who back him, the bankers who back him are more than happy to say, "Oh, hi, Robert, do you need a couple more million?" "Sure. How much do you need? 10 million on that new project? Okay, no problem. Here you go." So these are important relationships. Having really, really, really important, very rock solid relationships with the money behind the money. Certain businesses require massive lines of credit, for example. And those lines of credit are based on personal integrity. Does the bank trust you? Do you trust the bank? Can you be trusted with astronomical amounts of money to the point where the bankers go home, it's 5 o'clock, folks, I gotta go home. I'm gonna be fine, I'm gonna sleep well tonight because I've got a great relationship with Fluffles. There we go, okay? So that's the thing. More than ever before, it's going forward here, what we're looking at is we're taking it next level. However many zeros that you were used to working at before, what I'm feeling here is that when you get to your next incarnation of your new business, okay, wherever that is, and you start building up the client relationships, my feeling is that your lines of credit are going to be very, very important. And it's possible, okay, I'm seeing your notes there. Do you think you'll have the energy? Okay, the energy, well, that's the big question. To me, it looks like there are severe doubts whether you're going to have the energy or the integrity to do this because it's very consuming, it's very demanding. On the other hand, there's this very powerful drive that you have to do this and be this. So, again, the reading here for me feels about getting yourself in condition, spiritual condition, fluffing your aura, getting yourself to the point where your aura is flowing through. Your aura is so powerful, so clean, so crisp, so clear that there's no doubt from anyone and anyone else that comes into contact with your aura, whether it's your bankers and your lines of credit or whether it's your clients. It all goes through the same aura. So you're like an instrument of the healing power of love in the business that you do. Okay, in other words, as a broker, you're dealing with enormous amounts of money that move from here to there and there to here for certain reasons. That's what brokers do. So it makes me feel as though whatever kind of reputation you have already in terms of being good at handling money, we're going to take it to the next level. And what I'm seeing in particular is you might want to wrap yourself around the idea of having, however, if you're used to having 6 zeros to play with or 7 digits to play with, it's time to add another 0, and then once you've got that again, line that up and add another 0. Okay? That's what I'm sensing here. And the beauty is that it goes back to like the Robert Kiyosaki situation, where it starts to grow like a plant, like this, like, oh, and the actual number of zeros naturally gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then that becomes the new status quo, where your new comfort level isn't like 5 or 6 zeros. Your new comfort level is 7 zeros or even 8 zeros. There's no limit. I was just talking about Robert Kiyosaki. He works in the billions. He has lines of credit in the billions, okay? And it's just real estate, you know? It's real estate. It's cash comes in, cash goes out. Cash comes in from the renters, cash goes out to the lines of credit that he has to pay down. It's a perpetual thing, and he lives on the margins in between, which happen to be enormous, which allows him to live a very, very splendid life. It's all down to good money management, good cash flow. That's it. You're going to be just fine. But being just fine ultimately requires you to get that fluffing the aura stuff sorted out. Go back to 0. Go back to square one. Get your aura cleaned out, totally pure. I wouldn't even think about the business at this point. You already know what to do, you know how to do it. I would be focusing all my energy. I'm not saying I'm you, I'm not going to do it, but I would find some kind of local yoga practice, fish around, shop around, find one where you can ask them specifically, I'm really concerned about focusing on cleaning my aura. I want to cleanse my aura. I want to recalibrate and get everything back to pure gold, turquoise and gold. Thank you very much. I knew you would understand, Fluffles. I knew it. Esther, finally, you're up. Can I add zeros? I'll do it. Yeah, I'll just go poof like that. I'll just do it like that, okay, Esther? Add a few zeros onto your net worth. Sure. Doing. I'll press the TarotLumination magic button. No problem, Fluffles. No problem. All right, Esther, you're up. Let's see what we got here. You know what? Yeah, okay. Let's have a look. Oh, man. Being a tarot reader, honestly, it's thirsty work, folks. All right, Esther. All right, now, so, Esther, I'm trying to find if did you put any notes for me earlier that I missed? Gosh, I can't see anything. I don't know if I'm missing anything, Esther. Esther, am I missing anything here? I mean, I'm just going to keep going. I'm more than happy. I love doing a blind reading. But if you've got a very particular topic theme, if you want to, put it in the chat, preferably just one word. What messages do we have here tonight for Esther regarding the subject of ... What would that word be? If you want to do it. Otherwise, I'll do blind reading. One word could be like, oh, finance, health, relationships, journey, home, communication, destiny, whatever it is. Just prayers for your health. Nice. Alright, cards are shuffled. They're being shuffled. Live, real time. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay, it looks like there's a typo there, Esther. Did you mean the word young? Young? I don't know. I'm going to keep shuffling. Here we go. We're going to use the TarotLumination situational spread. Yes, it's Fluffle's time. Sorry, it's Esther. Yeah, we're reading for Esther. Pardon me. All right, here we go. All right, Esther, what kind of messages do we have for you tonight? Let's have a look. Let's have a look here. Here's the situation. Here's challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. And let's have a look at the surrounding energies here. Okay, we have judgment. Sorry, yeah. It's a beautiful card. It's rebirth. It's about being born again, being rejuvenated. I don't know, Esther, does that mean anything to you? It looks like the word Joung is there in the chat. I could easily see that being a typo for the word young, in which case this card would make a lot of sense. If you look at the imagery, it's absolutely beautiful. It's a very triumphant energy about being released from all the, let's say, confinements of life, where we all end up, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, and then we are reborn. We die and then we're reborn. It's just like trees in a forest, okay? Carl Jung. Okay. All right, so this judgment card, it's the energy of tremendous liberation and freedom. Have a look over there. It's very triumphant. I don't know if that's going to show up. I want that to be really crystal clear. Come on, little camera, you can do it. Oh. Why is the camera not picking it up? Look at that. Isn't that spectacular? Feeling like some kind of divine, it's like divine intervention, where you, dear Esther, are reborn. You may have lived a life. You may have a life well lived. But we all end up ashes to ashes, dust to dust. And I don't know about you, but I believe in reincarnation. You can even have a rebirth in this lifetime where you feel literally like you wake up one morning and you realize, oh my God, my life just started again from scratch. Oh my God. So that's kind of what I'm sensing here. And it could be done by invocation. Like if you're looking in particular, okay, Esther, here we go. So if you're looking for redemption, which is this beautiful energy of being forgiven of all your misdemeanors, mishaps, tragedies, errors. Maybe you hurt people unwittingly without knowing it. Maybe you hurt yourself unwittingly without knowing it. And you've lived through the ups and downs and the highs and lows of life, and you've come to a point where you realize, wow, I'm still here, man. Wow, there's a whole other freaking journey unfolding in front of me. Wait a minute, what does that look like? Oh, whoa! And so, for example, in astrology, you could associate things like new moons, restarts and rebirths. Now, we had one on the 17th, okay? We're heading up to the full moon on the 1st, if I remember that. So that's the Aquarius Leo vibe. But it doesn't really matter. Anybody can have a sense of rebirth at any time for any reason. And it's almost like it works so much better by invocation. We don't need a topic. Hey folks, I'm already going blind here on a reading for Esther, and there was plenty of chance for words to pop up, so we're just going to run with it, okay? If something comes up later, fine, but for now we're just going to run with it. What I'm sensing is this, it can happen to anybody, anytime, where it's almost like you wake up one morning as though you're reborn, as though you have been forgiven, you've been released from all your burdens. It's almost like you don't care anymore because you don't have to. It's like, oh wow, why was I worrying about this or that? I can't take it with me anyway. What does it matter? The only thing that counts while we're here is being loving, be loved. But most important is being loving. How it turns out that we are loved, that is a consequence. That's a consequence of being loving. Be loving, be loved. Be loving, be loved. You have to take the initiative. Now, a lot of people, of course, don't want to do that. I want to be loved before I can be loving. Nobody loves me. How can I love anybody if nobody loves me? It's not fair. And then you can see how you can just drown in a wallowing pool of self-pity and misery without even knowing it. And that ends up as your default setting. And guess how many billions of people live like that already? It doesn't have to be that way. It's almost like, especially if you do like your own, it's almost like the cleansing that we were talking about for Fluffles. When you wake up in the morning, you could say, you know what? I'm going to do this deliberately. Instead of just waking up on autopilot thinking, oh, I got to clean my eyes. I need a glass of water. I got to go pee. I got to get some breakfast. I got to think about what I'm going to do for the day, how I'm going to do it. You wake up and you think, wait a minute, wait. Before I do any of that, I'm going to get myself right with God. I'm going to get myself right with my guardian angels, my archangels, my invisible friends, all the loved ones behind the veil who love me and who are there for me. I'm going to sort that out first. Do you see what I'm getting at? So you get that sorted out before you do anything else. Like millions of people, I often forget. I do a lot of stuff on autopilot. But again, a lot of my default settings are favorable because I've worked at it for a long time. But anyway, so what I'm sensing here is that with the Judgment card, this is a great time to do a couple of invocations, really simple invocations, maybe tomorrow morning when you wake up. Number one, please, dear invisible friends, please, 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 please bring to me that which is mine, that which is new, that which is coming to me, that which I deserve. Please bring that to me. Please take away from me anything and everything that is not mine, anything that is no longer mine. Maybe some history, maybe some guilt, maybe some burdens, some responsibilities, conditions, behaviors, attitudes, commitments. If they're old, redundant, obsolete, please remove them, take them away without too much pain, and just bring to me that which is mine. Amen. Thank you very much. That's it. It's like a little mini prayer. And then maybe the next morning is remind yourself that, oh, I have to maintain myself as an instrument to be open. So you could say something like, you could say it to yourself, or you could lie down in bed and look up at the ceiling and raise your hands toward the ceiling and basically say something like this: I am worthy, I am deserving, I am open to receive, I am ready, I am willing, I am able to receive. So it's spoken, so it is done. That's it. The question is what? What are you ready, willing, and able to receive? It's the good stuff. It's love, being loving, so that you become you are a receiver. So you receive the healing power of love. You receive energy. You receive love, and then you own it in here. And then you are now a custodian. You are an owner. It's like having money in the bank. Now the question is, what do I do with it? Oh, be loving. I'm going to go out and do something fun. I'm going to go, I don't know, go for a walk. I'm going to go into town. I'm going to buy an ice cream. You know what? I'm going to buy an ice cream, or I'm going to go. This is what I do. I can't eat ice cream, but I'll go and every week or so I stumble on somebody over at McDonald's, and I think, you know what? Here's a couple of bucks. You might be able to get an ice cream cone. That's about all I can handle, but it's fun, it's satisfying, and they're usually very receptive. And it makes you feel really, really good. You didn't save anybody's life, but be loving, be loved. And let's get on with your reading. Here we go. All right, so this can happen by invitation, but that's up to you. You have to make that happen, okay? Here's the situation. Okay, you might be plodding along, of course, look at the imagery, thinking like, it's just too much anymore. I can't take it anymore. How can I expect to be reborn and rekindle, revitalize when I feel like this? Well, the thing is, this is the way life feels for billions of people. It doesn't have to be that way. It might be a time for you to realize that you might have brought this upon yourself, Esther. This might be your default setting without knowing it. You might have programmed yourself, you might have allowed yourself to be conditioned over life where you're just constantly overloaded. And you start to realize, well, that's just me. That's how I live. I'm always over. There's too much. I got to take care of this. I got to do that. I got this bill to pay, that thing to do, that place to be. Oh, no, it's never ending. It's just never ending. I got to do the cleaning. I got to do chores. Oh, no, no, no. Am I ever going to make it? Am I ever going to... Let me see if I can get the picture. The artwork is just beautiful. You see? This situation, it might be a default setting and you don't even know it. So can you see how you've become your own worst enemy without even knowing it? you're carrying too much weight. You're carrying too many burdens, too many commitments, too many responsibilities. And some of them basically aren't even yours. So it's just like, oh my God, how can I possibly hope to be reborn, rekindled, and live life with lightness of spirit when I'm just bogged down in all these things that I've loaded upon myself? Oh God, it's so obvious. Why didn't TL tell me before? Anyway, here, what's the problem here? Okay, I know it's a new journey. I know I've got to start from scratch. I know I'm planning. But I don't even know what the plan looks like. I don't really have any clarity right now. Well, here's the thing, Esther. It's very difficult to have any clarity. It's very difficult to lay out plans or even sketches about how your new redemption, your new future, your new redemption, new lease on life would look like. The new rejuvenation here. How could you possibly know what that looks like if you're constantly bogging yourself down with this all day? You can't possibly... this is like being stuck on the treadmill, you know? And so it becomes very hard to project into the future when you're constantly burdening yourself. It's no offense, Esther, but it sounds like you might have a very, very deep-seated pattern of being your own worst enemy, but in a very subtle way without even knowing it, you know? And then you come to a reading like this, and TL has to tell you right to your face, Esther, you're being your own worst enemy. You're taking on too many commitments, too many responsibilities, too many burdens, too many loads. Time to drop it. Only carry what is relevant to you going forward. Travel light going forward into your new future. So how are we going to do this? Yay! Okay, so with the Knight of Swords, it's very, very brutal. To me, it feels like you're going to have to be really tough on yourself. You're going to have to literally slash anything and everything that is no longer relevant to your life going forward. Going forward with your new lease on life, your new redemption, your new being reborn again. You've got to get rid of all this crap. It has to go. You're going to have to be the executioner. You're going to have to be the one who does it on yourself. You're going to have a good look in the mirror and look at yourself, look at everything in your life, like bills, relationships, habits, commitments, all sorts of things that could be identified as heavy commitments, burdens, and responsibilities. Okay? You might be very serious by nature. Okay, so admit that, but you could also overdo it. This is the energy of almost desperation. Pluto in Capricorn, 29 degrees. You might be heavily affected by that transit for all we know. So to go forward, we're looking at you're going to have to be the one who identifies all these things that are no longer appropriate. And you're going to have to cut them. You're just going to have to go. This has to go, 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 that. That all has to go. Some people could call it all sorts of things. They could call it downsizing. They could call it recalibrating your life, your finances. Reduce and simplify so that things are very pure and very, very simple. So you don't wake up in the morning with heavy burdens. In fact, it becomes just the opposite. You become very, very light, very, very free, redeemed, rejuvenated. You can breathe freely, breathe clearly, walk upright, very, very clear, no matter what. And you make that your new stride. I hope that helps, okay, Esther? Alright, I'm going to put these cards away over here, and that's pretty much it for tonight. We all have lives to live, things to do. It's Sunday night. We start all over again with a brand new week. All right, let's have a look over here. I am going to say goodnight. Thank you everybody for your kindness, your generosity, all your donations, and for the readings and everything. It really makes a huge difference here. So I'm going to play my little song again because I'm so proud of it. And you're going to leave that with you. It's about 3.5 minutes because, as I've told you before, when I shut down the transmission here, that has almost nothing to do with what you see as the shutdown of the transmission where you are. It's a very, very the time lag is very, very long. So I'm going to let the music play out, and by that time you might actually see the end of the show, and Esther will have had her full reading. Like, the worst thing that could happen is your reading, Esther, gets cut off at the very last moment. Not right, not fair. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to play the song again. Okay, I'm calling this my 2A song. 2A stands for the Second Amendment. Okay? That's the Second Amendment of our beautiful Constitution here in the United States of America. It's from TarotLumination. It's pretty rough, but I hope you get something out of it. When will I stop being censored? All I'm doing is speaking the truth. Instead I am labeled as a domestic terrorist extremist with a short fuse. The fake news just lies and suppresses. The Marxists are writing the scripts. The unaware masses get led to their slaughter while patriots try to resist. Oh, you can't take me down and you can't shut me up. I got the First Amendment by right. And if the first one is threatened, I've still got the second. I won't go down without a fight. Yes, we still have our sweet Constitution, but it's severely being abused. Our only solution is a new revolution to take back what belongs to you and me. I'm sick of the perverts and pedos trying to normalize child sacrifice. They revel in evil and their satanic rituals packaged in their delicious lies. No, you can't take me down and you can't shut me up. I got the First Amendment by right. And if the first one is threatened, I've still got the second. I won't go down without a fight. It all began way back on 4th of July in 1776. The founders and fighters gave their lives for our freedom. I don't want to live through that again. You see, I'm recalling a past life from that exact time. I shed blood to shake off the chains of the tyrants and despots who owned us like cattle. But if I have to, I'll fight them again. Oh, you can't take me down and you can't shut me up. I got the First Amendment by right. And if the first one is threatened, I've still got the second. I won't go down without a fight. No, you can't take us down and you can't shut us up. We got the First Amendment by first one is threatened, we've still got the second. We won't go down without a fight. There we go. The TarotLumination worldwide smash hit. So, Fluffles, I just see your notes there. I just went to check. It looks like a long letter. We can definitely do a private reading, no problem. I can take a look at it. I'm actually pretty wiped out at the moment, so I don't want to do anything more tonight. And yeah, I got it all, Fluffles. Don't worry about that. I got all that, and I will just simply follow up with you through the email. Okay, no problem. This is what I do. Okay. So, thank you everyone for hanging out. Thank you for letting me play my song twice. I'm going to keep playing it every now and again. And go from there. Oh, by the way, Gregory, yeah, about the song and the artists. I know there's been quite a lot of really controversial activity in the country music world with some of the artists who are becoming very, very vocal about some of the really disturbing things that are happening in this country. And what tends to happen is that if you have one voice that speaks up in such an extremely challenging situation, it gives like a green light and permission for other people like me to speak up as well. And you know that my channel was pulverized at the end of 2018. It's never recovered. The algorithm, it doesn't matter if I have a private consultant or all the other YouTube consulting services. You can't fix anyway, the point is that I'm doing what I can with what I've got for now. And I'm used to being called out. I'm used to having videos wiped, the whole channel blocked, everything shut down for weeks, for months, before I can do anything because of being who I am. Because there are people out there who run these huge media platforms that a lot of them don't like people like me. And there's actually millions of people like me. Okay? And they're starting to have the courage and the strength to speak up. And you've probably seen it in the news. But anyway, thanks, Gregory. I would love to have some kind of professional, I'd love to have some big famous, suitable artist, I don't know who could pick up the song and make it go super big. Wouldn't that be hilarious? Good night, everybody. Number one, you're number one. Love thyself. Aries North Node. No apologies, okay?